Hey guys, Jeff O'Connor. Welcome back to my shop. Today, for my first video of 2025, I want to do a shop tour for you here. Now, I've been in this shop for about 2 years. This is my 6th shop in the past 27 years, and this is the first one I've ever had where I could actually put some thought and built it from scratch. So if you have any questions about the build or any questions about the stuff in the shop, just put them in the comments below and I'll make sure I answer those questions. Now, as far as the footprint goes, this is a 40 by 40 shop, so you can see the size of it. Way bigger than anything I've ever had, and it's plenty of walking room, plenty of room to work on large projects. The walls are 12 foot, and I wanted that because every shop I had always had low ceilings, and then whenever I come in with a longboard or plywood, I'm always banging lights or banging the roof, banging the ceiling. So this gives me a lot of workable room here. The lights are all LED, so it's actually pretty cost efficient in here. Nice and bright. My favorite part is actually these windows. I never had windows in any of my shops, so being able to have all these windows bringing in natural light during the daytime is awesome. The last thing I'll show you before we start walking around here is the walls themselves. This color I picked out of a color palette, looking for something soothing because I spend all day in here, and woodworking for me is kind of therapy, so I really like this color, and I really wanted kind of a homey feel when I'm in here working. So I think it's called Grasshopper or something from Home Depot. This area here, this is right when you walk in is my seating area. This is where I sit down with clients and talk about projects that are coming up. I also always have some Irish whiskey on hand, so when my friends come by, we can always do a toast to our fallen brothers. For those of you who don't know, I'm a retired U.S. Navy EOD, which is the bomb squad, so I still live local and have a lot of guys dropping by the shop, so that's always enjoyable. The flooring is actually a rubberized coin pattern floor, and I got the idea for this floor from Rob Cosman, who's a woodworking mentor of mine, and it's great for foot fatigue, it's great for spills, it sweeps up really nice. So if you're going to coat your floor with something, take a look at this stuff. It's really nice. What I want to do now is take you to the back of the shop and kind of show you the flow of the shop as we come in. So come on back. Okay, so we are here at the back of the shop, and I wanted to show you this area first because this is really where I start to break down the materials as I walk through. Part of the layout process I looked at was getting the 10-foot high doors. As I open these doors up, I can pull my truck right up to the back here, unload whatever wood I'm going to work, and I can start the process through here. So I've got my 5 horsepower Powermatic saw here, which is awesome. I do a lot of work with like 8-quarter white oak, and this slices right through very easily. Over here, I've got a 5 horsepower planer from Powermatic also. Chews through that white oak really easy. And lastly, on this side, I've got my joiner. That's an 8-inch joiner. So if you're in the market for one, I highly recommend getting the 8 over the 6-inch joiner. So these are my main machines for breaking down the lumber. If you look here, I've got my Mini Gorilla. This is really the only major dust collector I have in the shop, and these 3 machines are the main chewers. So I'm able to take this off. This little rockler handle is really cool. I'm able to hook them up to every machine I have as I move around. Now, if you're in a shop where multiple guys are working, this probably isn't the best idea for you, but I'm a one-man show in here, so having this is fine. I just roll it to wherever I need it. It's got a long enough hose on it, I can hook it up. As we walk back here, you'll see this is the sanding area. So I've got all my sanders in this area here. The first 2 are some really old Powermatic sanders. I got 2 different grits on them. I actually bought it to have one, and I loved them so much I just put on a different grit, and I kept them both because they're awesome antiques. This is Jet's new Jet Black. This is their oscillating edge sander. Great machine. I also have an oscillating spindle sander from Jet, and then this little guy, I use this for when I'm making knives and things like that. If we walk around this way, this is my miter station here. In this box, you'll see around the shop, I've got a lot of toolboxes. I really like having those around these stations because I can keep everything kind of located in the center. So with the miter station here, I can keep everything from my table saw equipment to the bandsaw equipment to some things for the sanders as well. So this is really handy, and this is actually hard mounted onto the tabletop here for cutting. Next, we have my bandsaw. This is a 3 horsepower Powermatic bandsaw here. I use this for resaw as well as cutting out patterns and so forth. Most of the time I got a resaw blade on here, but right now I've gone down to a 1/4 inch for cutting knives out and things like that. Before I head up to the front, since we're back here, I want to show you where I do my finishing. You have to excuse the dog barking outside if you hear them. I got 9 dogs on the property. I think that's Tegan at the door. She's a little lab. But come on in here. This is a finish room that I built. I never had an enclosed finish room. So it was one of the things I wanted to do was to keep the dust out. Put these 2 doors up, dust-free environment while I'm doing all the finishing. This wall are all my finishes. I keep all the waxes, all the oils, all the clear coats, and then anything that colors the wood is on this side over here. I got one main work area here. I also have a folding table that pops out when I need to finish a really big project. I also do a lot of stabilization with resins and dyes and so forth. So this is all this is my stabilization center here where I've got the vacuum, my oven, and then the chambers where I'm able to actually take the air out and put all the resin into the wood. Sink is imperative in a finishing shop, and I love having this in here. So cleaning the brushes, whatever you got, it's really easy to do. In this room, I actually put a lot of extra light. And what that does is really helps you check your finishes, check your shadowing so you can see how that finish is looking. A dim room while you're finishing is no good. So that was one of the things I made sure I did in here was put plenty of light. So we're going to take a walk up this way. This is my Festool area. So if I'm doing joinery or if I'm doing routing, anything I'm going to use my Festool machines with, I do here. This is the Festool MFT table. All my Festool machines or routers and sanders and the domino, all that stuff's over here. I keep a lot of my lumber over on this side. What I normally do is when I'm starting a new season, I'll bring wood in from outside storage and I'll let it acclimate in the shop here, and then I grab it from here as I use it. I've got a lot of white oak here, a lot of walnut, but most of the wood's out in the storage out back. Now over here, this is the main work area for the shop. I've got 2 workbenches as well as a work table in the center here. This is my main workhorse here. This is a Hoffman Hammer all beech workbench from Germany. All my dovetailing, everything's done on this bench. Very solid bench. You see I've got my Moxon vise underneath there that I use for the dovetails. Next up is this table. This is actually an old desk. I love antiques. And anything that's large, I kind of need a good workspace for, I'd use this old desk for. And right now I'm working on a Maloof style rocking chair out of black walnut. This I love. This is an old antique workbench. It's about 150 years old. I wouldn't say it's really effective in the shop when you're trying to do really solid joinery because the top's not flat. The vices don't work real well, but I absolutely love this bench, and I love the story behind it. The guy I bought it from was 80 years old, and it was his father's bench that he built. So it's very, very old, a lot of history. So it really is an inspiring bench for me in the shop. I use it mostly as a desk when I'm in here doing designs and so forth. Next, I have the tool cabinet here. This is something I changed up for this shop. My previous shops, I always mounted my tools on the wall. This workbench houses everything. So if you come on over here, you can take a look in this top drawer. I've got all my saws for my hand tool stuff. All my chisels are here. And what I like about this is I've got plenty of room. I haven't even filled these drawers yet, and this used to fill up an entire wall. But everything's organized. I also have desiccant bags in these drawers, so it keeps any corrosion possibilities down. Now this is HVAC, this is climate controlled, but this is just an added safety when you've got expensive tools sitting in drawers so they don't rust. Come on over this way and I'm going to show you the turning area. So about 50% of my work is turning, and I also do turning classes here. So here I've got my Excelsior Pee-wee lathe, this little guy. I do mostly small stuff like pens, shave brushes, things like that on this lathe. Over here, I've got the Big Daddy. I call this a Loch Ness Monster. Now this lathe is 11 feet long. It's an old General 260, and I absolutely love this thing. It's so solid. This is my primary lathe. I use this for everything. Now, I haven't turned anything that's 11 feet long yet, but I'm ready. When it pops up, I'm going to take that job. This actually has a VFD on it because the machine itself is 3-phase, and I've got it rigged up for first phase here through the VFD. My other lathe is the Nova Galaxy DVR, an excellent lathe as well. It's all digital, but when I teach the classes, we kind of bounce back and forth so the guys can get an experience on both these lathes. Lastly, I keep my sharpening station for my turning tools close. So I like to be able to just turn and then pop over here and do some sharpening. I use CBM wheels. This is mounted again on another toolbox that I love. Inside of the toolbox, I've got all my Carter & Son turning tools and then various jigs and so forth throughout the rest of these drawers, but all turning related. So lastly, we're going to pop over to the other side, and I'm going to show you the exit here with our CNC machine. We'll be all done. Okay, this is our final stop on the shop tour. This is my Axiom AR8 Pro. Now, I don't use a CNC a lot. About 25% of my work is probably done in the CNC, but I use it a lot for jigs and so forth. Great thing to have in the shop for a one-man shop especially. I also have a laser attachment on the CNC. Excellent customer support from Axiom as well. One thing I'll recommend if you're building a shop that's a decent sized shop is to get surround sound put in. Because I did that. This is the first shop I've ever had surround sound put in, and it is great. I've got one TV over here, but being able to hear it on any part of this shop is really awesome. So just a thought if you're developing your plan now. That's the shop, guys. I wanted to take you around for a tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, any concerns, or any comments, just pop them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer those. You guys take care, and thanks for stopping by.